wish you could learn Japanese with the things you actually enjoy? Then you found the right video, because today I will teach you Japanese with the game Baldur's Gate 3. Don't worry though, it won't be a dry vocabulary drill, as I will not only show you the meaning of the words, but I will also help you with the sentence structures, remembering some of the kanji, point out important points about the language, and stuff like that. Now let me tell you just a few things about this video before we start. First, this video is mainly for learners who already know at least some basic Japanese. Second, I won't go over every single word that is on the screen, because that would be really tedious. Rather, I will try to focus on the things that are relevant to the current gameplay, interesting, or a must-know thing. However, don't forget, if you have any questions about the stuff we learn, feel free to ask them in the comment section and I will try my best to answer them. And one last thing, Baldur's Gate 3 is a Western type RPG game, so in some cases it was probably a challenge to translate it to Japanese. Because of this, we might run into some sentences here and there that sound less authentic than what you would encounter in a Japanese RPG. Despite that, I still wanted to make this video because in my opinion, it's still an amazing opportunity for those who want to learn from the games they enjoy. And don't worry, you don't have to watch the previous episode to enjoy this one. And now, hajimemashou! For a really brief revision, in the last video we selected the Bokenka difficulty at the Naido no Sentaku screen, made a druido who's a Yugenna elf. To be more exact, her Ashizoku is high elf and she's from a Hizoku background. And for today's video, we can finally start with the actual gameplay. I will skip this intro cinematic as it has no dialogue, and also if you are watching this video, you have probably already seen this at least once in your lifetime. So let's jump to the part where we are alive and well, or at least simply alive. Let's check up on this thing.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
You already heard the English translation, but it's not exactly the same word by word, so let me still explain a few interesting points. この液体は、そう、今もあなたの目の奥でのたうっている妖精が入っていたものだ。First, a useful word, 液体. It means liquid. If you look at the kanji, it literally means a body of liquid or a liquid substance. Then let's see the 目の奥でのたうっている妖精 part, as it can be a bit confusing. 目の奥 is behind the eyes, then comes the で particle, indicating that at 目の奥 there is an action going on. Then comes のたうっている, which is のたうつ in ている form, meaning to write in pain, to wriggle. I don't think that the English word wriggle has the underlying meaning the thing wriggling is in pain, but using notautsu supposes that this movement is because of pain. The last word, yosei, means larva. So, 目の奥でのたうっている妖精 means the larva writhing behind your eye. At the end of the sentence, you can see monoda. This grammar has a lot of different meanings, and it's not always that obvious which is the correct translation. But in this case, I think it is used to state an objective fact in a dramatic or emphasizing way, like the narrator stating, yes, it's the liquid where that larva used to be. Okay, now let's see the three options we can choose from. First, プールに手を伸ばす. Reach out toward the pool. 捜査、プールを調べる. Investigation, investigate the pool. If you are watching this video, you have probably already played Baldur's Gate 3, but just in case, I will explain. The word in brackets is the skill that will be used for the action. In this case, it's the 捜査, the investigation skill. The word 捜査 is really self-explanatory if you know the kanji. The first one means to search, to look for, while the second one means to investigate. So they really try to point out with the kanji that this word means investigation. But a very important thing to remember. If you notice, there is another word for investigating in the same sentence, 調べる. If you compare 捜査する to 調べる, the difference between them is that while 調べる can be used in general, 捜査する is specifically used for criminal investigation. So you will encounter Sosa a lot while playing with detective or crime-themed games. And for the last option, tachisaru, leave. First, we should try investigating プールを調べる. We will have to ダイスをクリックして振る. Click on the dice to roll it, which will determine whether our action succeeds or fails. Let's elaborate on the screen a little bit further, as we will see it a lot, so it's better to know what terms we will encounter. On the top, there is the action we want to do. Then there is the skill that's needed for the action. And under it, we can see what kind of skill check it will be. In this case, it's a 知力判定, an intelligence check. Although we call it check in English, in Japanese it's translated to 判定, which means things like judgment, decision, verdict. And look, we met again with the word we already learned in the first video, 難易度. So if the 難易度 is 10, it means that we have to roll a 10 or above to succeed. However, the 総合ボーナス, the overall bonus, is -1 because our 知力 is just horrible. So we actually have to roll 11 or above. I think we have covered everything, so let's roll. 成功, yay! By the way, if you like the video so far, please consider subscribing. Thank you!
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
Let's look at the second sentence, as its Japanese translation is an interesting one. ほんの少し触れるだけでボロボロと崩れるだろう. ほんの少し means just a little. 触れる is to touch, to feel. Then comes だけで, which can be used to express just by doing A, B. So, A だけで B. You have to put the dictionary form of the verb in front of だけで. That's why 触れる looks like that. So just by touching it a little, ボロボロと崩れるだろう. ボロボロ is actually an onomatopoeia, so a word that tries to mimic the sound of the thing it describes. Japanese has a lot of these, not just for mimicking sounds, but feelings, textures, and all kinds of things. Usually, it's not that easy to translate them to other languages, as they tend to have fewer of these kinds of words. A great example for an onomatopoeia that you probably already heard is doki doki, which they use when one's heart is beating fast. But now, back to boro boro. In this case, it describes something that's really dry and crumbly, or something that's falling in clumps. If we put the to after it, boro boro to, it will turn it into an adverb. Kuzureru means to collapse, to crumble. So together with boro boro to, they will mean something like to crumble into pieces. Now there is only daro left at the end. It sticks to a verb's plain form and it means that the speaker assumes something. So in this case, the narrator thinks that it will collapse if you touch it. So all in all, ほんの少し触れるだけでボロボロと崩れるだろう. It would probably crumble into pieces with just a slight touch. And that's all. So let's touch it anyway. I forgot that this could happen. Anyway, let's loot some stuff. I won't go over them as we have more important stuff to figure out. But in the future, I might do a what's in my inventory kind of video where we read the more intriguing ones. We will see. Now we have a meeting with a kind gentleman. I mean gentle brain.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return! They return.
超常的存在。頼む、奴らがまた来る前に。また来るんだ。So let's look at who are we talking to exactly. 超常的存在。超常的 means paranormal, supernatural. The kanji, as usual, helps us with the meaning. 超 means something super or ultra, or as a verb, 超える to exceed. And 常 means usual, ordinary, normal. So instead of saying supernatural like in English, In Japanese, we say super ordinary. Oh, and I almost forgot, there is, of course, teki, which turns it into an adjective. So we now know that chōjō teki is supernatural. But what is sonzai? Sonzai means existence or being. So together, supernatural being. So this 超常的存在 says 頼む奴らがまた来る前にまた来るんだ I think this doesn't need further explaining, so let's jump to my answer. 話しているのは人間それとも脳 Is it a human speaking or is it a brain? There is a fun origin story for this country. Let me tell you to remember it more easily. So, no means brain, and in the left side it has tsuki, that means flesh in this case, just like we discussed in the first episode. But what I want to talk about now is the right part. Do you know that there is a soft spot on the newborn baby's head? It's shaped kinda like an X. The right part represents that, even with baby hair on the top. If we look at the traditional Chinese character, it becomes even more evident. But before we ask, 話しているのは人間それとも脳 I think we should end this episode here so our no won't melt from too much info. We will save meeting Lazel for the next episode. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and leave a like or a comment as it helps my channel grow. And also, I would love to see if this kind of language learning content is your cup of tea. I was not expecting my previous video and my channel to gain any attention at all, but seeing that some of you have subscribed, liked and commented made me really motivated. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Mata ne!